Well, it's questions that you are posing is a larger one, and often it is very difficult to really point out the very specific issue of, let's say, malnutrition with the larger questions of the governance. But surely it is in a way linked to. And if you really look at some of the states where you find the governance issues is really bad, or where you find that participations of the tribals in the governance issue is, if not negligible, inadequate, you find that the issue of malnutrition and therefore the questions of the poverty is very high. Tribals, wherever they are, you find they're dependent on more than one sources of livelihood. Surely the land is very important, but the forest is equally important. It's very difficult to think of a tribe without land and without forest. They're dependent on that. And many of the studies that do point out almost more than 50% of their everyday food items actually comes from the forest. And if therefore you restrict the access to forests, naturally it's going to have an implications on their everyday life or their food. And to that extent, therefore, it is going to have an implications for the quality of the health. The reasons as to why they move out is, of course, largely because of the displacement which has come due to dams or mineral exploitations or industries or other infrastructure development projects. And you find they have no rehabilitation, so no resettlement. Compensation may have been given, may not be inadequate. But they have been thrown away from the livelihood, the life support system. So where do they really go? I would first and foremost emphasize that can we have a kind of a paradigm of development which are tribal friendly, which you find that let's say respects that they have entitlement to land, the forest and other kinds of resources. So I think that's the first and foremost. See, even the constitution itself, there is this provision of not only development but also protection. It's very important. It's not only development, the protection. And what has actually happened is that we have emphasized too much on the development part, and we have introduced all kinds of schemes, but we have not really taken care of the protections. So the whole kinds of affirmative action programs that you are really bringing out in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of employment and all that, these are all gets completely countered by the larger issue of the political economy, which actually in a way throwing them out from the livelihood. But I think in every sphere, I think there is a need to provide the Adivasi voice. And unfortunately, you are right that Adivasi voice actually is missing. I think what is important, I feel that tribals in the mainland India, they need to be empowered between the state and the village where they really inhabit. That space is actually missing. And that political space has not been provided, let's say, in a part of India where almost 84% of the tribals or Adivasis really live. That's very, very unfortunate. And that is a space which actually need to be provided.